Okay. Now today I'm going to start about dictionary. It is an abstract class. So in previous sessions we have seen what we have seen about already we have seen map related classes. So I will show you once that hierarchy so that you can understand in detail about this one. So we have seen about map, tree map, hash map, all these things. So once if I show the hierarchy where this dictionary is present, you can clearly observe that. So see this. Okay. See this one. It is a hierarchy. Okay. This is an hierarchy, what we can see here. So hash map, linked hash map, identity hash map, weak hash map, sorted map, navigable map, tree map is completed. And also here hash map and hash table and properties are completed. As this is an abstract class, I have not discussed here when I'm discussing about these map classes. But before discussing these two classes, I have to discuss about this dictionary. But there is no such important things to explain there. So whatever the methods that are available in dictionary, already I have discussed in hash table. Okay, so let us see briefly. Nothing is there to discuss about this dictionary. So already you have seen about this dictionary in your data structures also. In the same way here also we are going to have about this dictionary. So if you see all these things here, this is a class, and here class, everything is a class here, maximum or interfaces. But here dictionary is an abstract class which is implemented by a class called as hash table. Already we have taken an example of hash table, and also we have seen how it is going to be executed and how what is the size of that. All these things we have seen there. Just now I am going to explain about a dictionary which is an abstract class. So see, only some few important points are there regarding to this dictionary. So if you see that, so the dictionary is an abstract parent of a class such as hash table. Okay, that means this is a abstract class. Already you know what is meant by abstract. So in that abstract class there will be what abstract methods will be there. Okay, mainly why we are going to use this dictionary means it mainly dictionary is going to map what keys to values. So in this, if you are going to see in dictionary, if you are going to see anything, for each and every key there will be one object will be there. So every key and value is an object. Already we know that in a collection or a map, what we can store only 1 minute. Okay, only we can do what we can have only object non-primitive types. That is, we cannot have a primitive types like int, all these int, char, next float, all these things we cannot have. We can only have the non-primitive type like objects. So everything that is key and value are objects in this one. So in any one in any one dictionary object, every key is associated with at most one value. That means for every key we are going to have what only one value. Next, given a dictionary key, the associated element can be looked at. That means if you are asking about a key, it is going to give you what value. Already we have seen about this in our hash map and tree map. Okay, so now any non-null object can be used as a key and as a value. Non-null, okay, not a null. Here they are saying what any non-null object can be used as key and as a value. Right now here we are going to see the methods that are present in our uh, dictionary. So already dictionary is extended by which class, or implemented by extended by which class? Already you have seen in our hierarchy, that is hash table. So all these methods are available to your hash table also. So already by using a hash table in our lab session, we have done one lab program, that is what mobile number and name and mobile number. That means if you are going to give a mobile number, it has to give corresponding mobile name. If you are going to give a name, it has to give a corresponding phone number. Okay, so already every method here already we have seen, but I have to tell you that these methods are present in this dictionary class. From this dictionary class only, remaining hash table and properties have taken these methods. Okay, already we have seen about elements method while discussing about enumeration. What is meant by enumeration? Enumeration is a cursor which can be applied to only the legacy classes. What is meant by legacy class? Which are from 1.0. If you see this dictionary and properties and also hash table, these are from which version? 1.0 version. That means if you want to apply anything to this one, that means generally for these two classes we will apply what? Enumeration iterator, enumeration cursor to retrieve the values one by one from that object. Now here elements are there. Why we are going to use these elements? It is going to give the values in this dictionary, not in this dictionary. That means this is an abstract class. We cannot create an object for this abstract class. So the child class of this dictionary, for example, hash table. If you are going to create any hash table, if I have placed some of the objects in that hash table, if you want to retrieve the values from that hash table one by one, then I have to go for this elements method. Next, if I want to get a value of any corresponding key, then I have to use a method called as get. So get of key, then it is going to return you what? A value corresponding to that. Next is empty. If I want to check a hash table, dictionary is nothing but we cannot create an object, so that we are talking about hash table. If you want to check whether the hash table is empty or not, then we are going to use a method called as is empty. Okay, next keys. If I want to get all keys, already these methods we have seen. Okay, if you want to get a keys of hash table, then we have to use what? Keys method. It is going to give you all the keys that are present in the dictionary. Put, that means if I want to insert any value to the corresponding key, then I have to use a put method. So see, maps the specified key to a specified value in the dictionary. Next, so remove of object, that means sorry, remove of object key. If I want to remove any entry, that means if I remove, already I have discussed this example in a class. If any student is detained, that what I have to do? I have to delete his roll number. Automatically, if I delete roll number, what happens? The value, the name also is going to be removed. In the same way here also, if you are going to tell remove of some key, defaultly what happens? Key and corresponding value is going to be deleted from that dictionary. Size means what? Whatever, how many objects are present in that dictionary. Okay, this is about your dictionary. So if you see the example here, what I am going to do, I am going to create an object of type hash table, and which reference is going to be pointing to that dictionary type. So already you know how, what is it possible? Yes, it is possible, because it is child class of this dictionary. So dict is a reference that can be point to a object called as hash table. So in hash table, what I am placing? 1 2 3 code 4 5 6. Already put means what? We are going to insert. So 1 2 3 code is inserted, 4 5 6 program is inserted. Now two keys are present in your, so okay, two keys are present in your hash table. Next, so next, if I want to retrieve those things, so see here, if I want to retrieve that, what I have to do? I have to check initially what I have to do. Enumeration I equal dict dot elements. Dict dot elements means what? In dict, what we are having? 1 2 3 code is there, 4 5 6 program is there. This is one entry and this is second entry. So here, if you want to get these things one by one from the dictionary, what I have to do? Dict dot elements. So what it is going, first it is also going to check what? I dot has more elements. Yes, is I is having any elements, then it will go here. Two conditions are there. First, dict dot elements. When I say dict dot elements, first it is going to do what? 1 2 3 code is going to be I. Okay, is I is having elements? Yes, so I is having some content, so it's going to print what? Value in dictionary. That is what? I dot next element, that is nothing but 1 2 3 code, first option. Next, for loop is going to be continued. Second element is what? 4 5 6 program is there. So 4 5 6 program is going to be placed in I. And is I has any more elements? Yes, I is having elements. So value in dictionary is what? For 4 5 6 program, it is going to print 4 5 6 program. So it is the concept. Now here, if you see, value of, okay, value of key equal to 6. For example, dict of get 6. Is there any 6 here? No. Okay, next dict of 1 2 3. So it is going to give you what? Code. If it is not present, what it is going to return? Already we have seen that concept in our previous sessions. So when I execute this one, you can understand that. Now is empty. I'm checking whether it is empty or not. Next, if I want to get only keys, I am going to use this iterator. Next. So if I want to remove anything, I am going to use dict remove of key. Automatically what happens? Entire key and value are going to be removed. Next, dict dot size. So when I am asking you about dict dot size, what we are going to get? We are going to get the size of your dictionary. So now I will execute this program, and if there is any doubts, once again I will repeat the explanation while executing the program. Okay. Now, so see. So if you see this program, see here, initially what I have done, code and program is present. So see here. Here what I am seeing next element. So I'm not getting both keys and values here. Only I'm getting what? Only the values. So if I execute this program, we are going to get this output. What is the output? First one, code is there. Second one, program is there. So now what are the keys we are having in our dict 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6? Okay, listen carefully. It is easy to understand, no problem. So if you see this one, so initially what I am printing these things, value in dictionary. First means first it is going to print what? Code. Next it is going to print program. Up to here it is completed. Elements method is completed. Next, if you see get method, first if you see get method, what is there? Is there any get of is there any get of 6? That means is there any 6 key? No. We are having only keys what? We are having only keys 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now so we are going to get what here? Whenever we are going to execute this line, we are going to get null. That means nothing is there with that corresponding to that. So we are getting null. So whenever we are going to execute a value at key 456, sorry, it is just printed mistake. Generally here what we should have 1, 2, 3. So with corresponding to 1, 2, 3, what we are having here? So corresponding to 1, 2, 3, we are having what? Code. So code is going to printed as output. See here, code is going to print. Just here I have to write 1, 2, 3. Just I have written 4, 5, 6. So it's a small mistake. So identify that. This is what? Not 4, 5, 6. It is 1, 2, 3. Next. Now after that is empty. I am checking whether my dictionary is empty or not. Is my dictionary is empty? I am having two things. One is what? 1, 2, 3, and next one is 4, 5, 6. Two keys are there. For each and every key, we are having a corresponding value. Is my dictionary is empty? No. So that here it is written what? There is no key value pair. False. It is going to print what? There is no key value pair. False. So this is completed. Is empty is complete. Next, keys. Keys means what? I am going to get corresponding keys. So see, for every key, dictionary, whatever the things that are present in dictionary, it is going to collect only keys from that entries. So first one, what? First key is 1, 2, 3. It will print here. Keys in dictionary 1, 2, 3. It will print. Next loop, what it is going to print? Keys in dictionary is going to print what? 4, 5, 6. Two keys are printed. Next. So this is about keys method. Next, if you see remove method, remove of 1, 2, 3. That means I want to remove 1, 2, 3 key and also corresponding value. Now what happens? While it is going to see here remove, that means while it is going to remove the entry from your dictionary, it is going to return what? It is going to return the value and it will be removed. So the value is what? Code is returned and the entry is going to be removed. Now see, I want to remove. So check the value of key. Already I have removed what? 1, 2, 3. So what will be the value that is going to be present? So if I check 1, 2, 3, what is the value that is present? Nothing is there. So you are going to get what? Null. Already 1, 2, 3 is removed here. Again, if I want to get a key, if I give a key to get method, it's going to give me what? Value. If I ask get of 1, 2, 3, is there anything for 1, 2, 3? No, nothing is there. So you are going to get null here. So next, size of dictionary is what? Only one. Already 1, 2, 3 is going already removed. Now what is their key? What is there? We are having 4, 5, 6 is there, and also we are having the 4, 5, 6 corresponding 4, 5 is we are having some program is there. So that only one entry is present. So your size of your dictionary is 1. So this is the concept of dictionary. I have taken one example of hash table and I have explained the methods of your dictionary. Okay. Now for each loop. Okay, I will explain this for each loop, and later I will explain our DQ and array DQ classes. Okay, right. Now see, already I have explained the same concept in our first unit while I'm explaining you a for loop. So if you see this one here, if you see for loop, generally we are having three fields. First one is what, initialization. Second one is what, we are having a condition. Third one we are having what, increment or decrement operations. Okay, in the same way here it is also a for loop, but here I am saying it as a what, for each loop or a enhanced for. Okay, by listening this name you may remember that already we know this concept. Okay, so see, so the Java for each or enhanced for loop is introduced in which version? Java 5.0 version. Okay, so it is what, it is an alternate approach for, generally if I want to get a elements of array, generally we will write what, for I equal to 0, for I less than 5, or for I less than n, I plus plus. Inside that I am printing system.out.println a of I. Let us consider if a is having 10 elements. So what happens? A of first loop, it is going to continue as what, a of 1, a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, and so on, a of 9. It is going to print in that way. But now here also it is an alternate way to print the elements of array or collections. So remember that we are going to print or traverse the elements of arrays or collections in Java by using this for each loop. In the same way, we can also have for loop also, normal for loop also. But when compared to for loop, I will recommend this for each loop because here readability is going to be increased. So you will see that performance will be high here when compared to normal for loop. Okay, right. Next, third point, if you see, it is mainly used to traverse the array or collection elements. Okay, so it is known as the for each because see here. So why the name for each loop is given to this one? So if you see this one, you can observe what, for every element. See, for each, that means for each element in array or for each element in collection, we are going to take that element. Okay, we will see that. Don't worry. Next, here the only drawback of this one is, advantage we are having, but the only drawback is if we want to go forward direction. That means if I want to go to 0 to 9, example, I'm having an array elements from 10 elements are there. I want to go from 0 to 9, no problem. But I cannot traverse in reverse order. That means if I want to come back to 10 to 9 to 0, it is not possible here. In our for loop, what we can write? If I want 0 to 9, I will print what? I equal to 0, I less than 9. I less than or equal to 9, I plus plus. System.out.println a of I. For example, we are having 1 to 9 value, 1 to 10 values in that array. So first what will print 1, 2, 3, so on 10. Increment, where I plus plus means what, increment, and we are getting the in forward direction we are going to move. If I want to get reverse direction, what I will do? Initial I will take I equal to 9. Okay, or I equal to 9, and I am going to do what? Whenever I greater than or I, we can take some options in that condition also, so that we will get what, reverse order. So I minus minus we will do automatically. We are going to get what? Otherwise, we can write a condition like whenever I equal to 0. Okay, condition is what? When I less than or equal to okay, we can write any type of condition so that the loop is going to be continued until 0 comes. That means starting is 0, minus minus means what happens? 8, next 7, and so on. It will come up to what? 0, and loop is going to be executed as we have written the condition. So it is the case. But in this for each loop, a drawback is we cannot traverse reverse order. So next, here you do not have the option to skip an element. There we are having the option what? If I modulo 2 equal to 0, break. We can write those things. That means if only we are having even numbers, we have to continue. Otherwise, if you are having only odd numbers, we have to continue or we have to skip. That options are there. Inside a for, if you are going to write if condition, or inside if we are going to write break or continue, that loop is, that particular iteration is going to be skipped. So it is not possible here. So this is one of the disadvantage. This is also a disadvantage. Okay, see there, you cannot traverse the odd or even numbers. Okay, only. but it is recommended to use the Java for each loop for traversing the elements of arrays and collection. Okay. Okay, so this is about for each. So now I will show you the syntax. Already we know this. Here what? Int, for example, if we are going to consider a data types, if you are going to consider data types, here int is there, here some variable I is there, here some array, int array I am going to write. For example, if it is an primitive types, if it is an object types, here object class name will be there, here that reference will be there, here that array will be there if it is a collection. Okay, we will see the examples for one array and one collection also. Okay, see here. Now, if you see this example, what is going to be happen? Here I have created one array. The array contains what? 12, 13, 14, and 44. Total, how many elements are there? 4 elements. Indexes are from where? 0 to 3. Okay. Now, here main focus will be on what? An element, not on index. Their main focus is on what? Only indexes. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. But see here, whenever I am saying int I equal to ARR, I am not going to give any index. By default, for each element that is present in ARR will be stored in I. That is the concept of for each. For each element of ARR, the value will be stored in I. So first, what is going to be stored? First value is what? 12. The I value is what? 12. So a 12 is going to be printed here. Next loop, what happens? There is an element. 13 is going to be stored in I. 13 printed, 14 printed, 44 printed. Now see, so after 44, there is no element present here. So what happens? Automatically, the loop is going to be exit. No need of checking for the conditions. It knows that no element is present in that array. So automatically, for loop is going to be exited. In this way, we can read the elements from our array by using the for each. So if we consider a collection, for example, I am going to consider a collection called as list, array list. So in that array list, I am restricting to pass only string values. So list is there. A list is an object name, object of array list. So list dot add of Vimal, Sanu, Ratan are added. So I am having how many objects? 3 string objects are present in list. So initially here, first element, that is for each element of list, it is going to be stored in S. That means first element of list is what? Vimal. Vimal is going to be stored in S. So Vimal is going to print out. Next, Sanu is storing in S. Next, it is going to be printed. Next, third element is what? Ratan. Ratan is going to be stored in S. It is going to print it. Is there any element in that collection called as list? Nothing is there. So automatically this for loop is going to be exited. So this is the concept of for each. So it is recommended to use only for arrays and collections, because group of things, when the group of things that are present in order, then it is recommended. In other cases, it is not recommended. That means to find odd numbers and even numbers, it is not recommended. If I want to traverse from reverse order, it is not recommended. Only one by one, that also in forward direction, if you are going to perform any task, it is recommended.